recording so that we can begin our meditation. Please rest assured that I'm the only one featured on the recording. Everyone present here today, your presence here is kept confidential. And we share these recordings on our website and podcasts and YouTube, and it's a wonderful way to have a meeting when you can't get to one. It's also a wonderful thing to share with people who might be curious about what a recovery journey could look like. And so we share them freely. Welcome, welcome, one and all. My name is Julia, friends, and I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha, and I'm so happy to be here. I have a wonderful practice set up for us, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. The Spokane Sangha does something quite unique regarding our recovery dharma practices, and that is that we take Buddhist concepts and principles and we explore them for the entire month. And so for the year 2026, I have already designed what we're going to explore, and it's on our website. Lo will share that with you in the chat if you want to look at the different topics. Specifically, we're going to go back to the foundation of Buddhism, the first teaching of the Buddha, which is the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. Now, what I have done, however, is I've reimagined the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. And the reason why I've reimagined it is because I take to heart the teaching of the Buddha, which suggests, hey, take my wisdom, explore my wisdom, but make it come alive in you. So if I put that into first person, my studies of Buddhism, my studies of these practices, how do they come alive in me? And so for the month of January, for instance, the first noble truth is there is suffering. That is at least how it is interpreted. But the word suffering for me is heavy-handed. And so I reimagined it. There is discomfort in my life. And discomfort has many expressions: disappointment, anger, resentment, frustration. And there is also comfort. And comfort, for me anyway, can stir up and churn up things that are both negative and positive. So I get a lot of comfort in food. But when I eat too much, I'm not comfortable. So I wanted to spend the month in January bringing this dual nature together as a way of working with how discomfort and comfort arise in me, how I've been uncomfortable and have found comfort in that. Isn't that a curious thing? I return to habit energy. It's familiar and it's oddly comforting. I engage in anger and righteousness, incredulity, icky feeling, and yet kind of comfortable, kind of powerful. These things are really important to acknowledge. The second noble truth, what we're exploring for the entire month of February, is the conditions for that, the causes for that, the reasons for that, and the mystery involved. We don't always know. We don't always know, why do I feel so confused and angry? Why am I returning to this habit energy seeking soothing? Why is this thing that I'm doing comforting? Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes that takes some time to reveal itself. Today, I want to show you a couple of things. We're going to do just a little bit of show and tell today. So many of you who don't know, I live on a farm. And this morning I was out in my prairie in the field, and I was out walking with my dog. And I've lived here for almost 26 years and raised children here and so forth. And we had a large playground that we have since taken down and tilled over and so forth. And as I was walking back to the house, I found this. This little toy dinosaur that has lost its head and its front legs are crossed. And how amazing is this? It appeared in the area of our playground and it had been buried for years, clearly. Chewed up, something found it. It probably got caught in the tiller of my tractor, my Jane Deere. And, but for some reason the earth decided to churn it forward and I found it this morning. And my first thought was, as I picked it up, was garbage. Gonna throw it out. And then my second thought quickly after that was message. This is a message. What's the message? What am I mean, as I said, I've lived here for more than 2 decades and I've never had a dinosaur toy churn up. So this is a rare finding. What is it wanting to tell me? And so I just paused for a moment and I said, okay, I'm listening. What's your message? And the message I heard today is, Julia, don't lose your head. And Julia, pay attention to when you lose your head. What happens when you lose your head? So cross your legs, get comfy, and think about it. Let's contemplate that. So let's not lose our heads, friends. And that's a beautiful thing to come into. It's so easy to do, to lose one's head. We lose our heads when we get caught in the grip of thinking. We lose our head when we get caught in the grip of storytelling. We lose our heads when we get caught in the grip of social conditioning. And so we come to this practice to unlearn some of these things, to get a little uncomfortable, and yet we know that we're safe. There's no pressure on us here. We're usually in a comfortable seated position. We're surrounded by people who are devoted to the practice. It's really a safe thing. So today we're going to keep our heads as we continue to explore another teaching which I brought forward yesterday as part of the understanding of the causes and conditions of my discomfort. And the teaching that I brought forward was something called the cauldron and the spoon. So today I wanted to enact for you what I'm talking about, and I'd like to show you my cauldron. So here's my cauldron. I described it for you yesterday. It's a metal cauldron. It's got these sweet little legs on it. It's very witchy. It's got glitter in it because, as all wonderful magic makers know, glitter has to be involved. This thing has seen many wonderful practices. And so in the cauldron, all of us are this emotional cauldron. I'm going to put it to the side. Can you all still see it on my screen? Yeah? Okay. So the cauldron represents me. And just like me, as all of you, we're all the same as being the human experience. So in my cauldron are all of my life experiences. In my cauldron are all of my parents' life experiences and their parents, and so on. In my cauldron are my emotions, my body sensations, my thoughts, stories. You get the idea. Here's my anger. Here's my bliss. Here's my stuck, obsessing, perseverating mind. Here's my creativity. These are little paintings. You've seen them a million times that I make. These are my sentiments of metta that I make. This one, let's just pretend this one represents my capacity for compassion. Uh-oh. Let's make this one all the ways I judge. Darn it. Here's a jaundiced one for all the ways I don't take care of myself. Ew. Oh, here's a bright one for the way that I nurture. On and on it goes, people. What's this one for you? What's coming alive for you? Into the cauldron it goes. How about this one? Here's one that's got polka dots. You know, they can be anything. Your cauldron, the cauldron of you, is filled with the whole of you. The good, the bad, the neutral. The up, the down, the slant ways. Everything goes in the cauldron. It is the ultimate symbol of equanimity, which is a limitless quality. And it is an invitation to include all of it. Every bit of it is important. Every bit of it defines the whole of you. And one of the things that the Buddhist practice encourages with such impeccability is it's constantly inviting us to examine the ways we oversimplify things by putting things in black and white categories. We create the illusion of simplicity by suggesting something is either this or it's that. And the cauldron says, yo, it's both. It's always both and something more. That's the mystery of it. So that's the cauldron. What's in your cauldron? Now, the teaching of the cauldron includes a spoon. I have my spoon here. Okay. Now the spoon represents any person, place, or situation that comes around and gets in the cauldron and stirs it up, right? Stirs up all your stuff. Now here's the thing. When life is going well, the cauldron is, simmering and it's kind of lovely, nothing bubbling too hard, everything's good. But the minute a spoon gets in there and stirs it up, all of a sudden there's the splatter. There's a whole bunch of stuff churning to the surface. And you might get splattered and it might hurt. Has that ever happened to you when you've cooked a spaghetti sauce or a stew? You leave it alone and then you stir it and it's gotten a little bit complacent and stuff has settled to the bottom and you got to stir those bits up, but it bubbles up and it's hot and it burns you. And you know what we have a tendency to do, what I have a tendency to do? Blame the spoon. If the spoon is a person and they get into my cauldron and they hurt me, I blame the spoon. I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they said that. I can't believe the way they hurt me. All the while, there's all that stuff churning to the surface that I conveniently ignore because I've paid attention to the spoon. The practice, friends, is to shift our focus a little bit. The cauldron and the spoon, wisdom says, stop blaming the spoon as your sole focus. Now, without the spoon, my stuff doesn't get churned. It will continue to settle. It will continue to stick. So I need spoons to come in and get my stuff churned up in order for me to see it. And it isn't comfortable all the time. And it isn't fun all the time. Certainly what's in there isn't fun all the time. It isn't always positive, right? There's a mixture. So the goal is to acknowledge the spoon. Oh, that person said that to me and that was unskillful and it was unkind. I'll address that later. But for now, I'm going to put the spoon down. They did their job. They stirred up my stuff. And now I get to reach in and look at what's here. Look at what's here. The condition. Look at the condition of the stirring. And then look at the stirring. See what's there. I mentioned yesterday about spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing says, it doesn't matter that the spoon jumped into my cauldron and stirred me up. I mean, I need spoons. Spoons are good. And so it's okay that it's kind of okay that I got hurt. No, it's not okay. It's not okay when people carelessly come in here and agitate this and stir and mash and hurt. Not okay. And we can address that. That was unskillful and that hurt my feelings. And you need to know about that. And now I'm going to create a boundary so that I can look at what's stirring to my surface. And with my boundary, you don't get to hurt me anymore. Because I'm not going to give my access to you. And the beautiful thing about boundaries is one of the things that we do with boundaries is not only are we keeping ourselves protected, but we're also creating the conditions where someone else doesn't get to be harmful. That is an extraordinary expression of compassion. I'm protecting myself, but I'm also creating the conditions where you can't continue being a source of harm. Amazing. And remember, friends, this applies to us. This applies to me. So I have a loved one in my life who, whenever she puts up a boundary, it feels yucky. I can't stand it. And most of the boundary sounds like, I don't want to talk to you about this. That's a boundary. It's a clear boundary that my loved one is putting down before me. And I don't like it because I want to talk about it. But my loved one is telling me, A, they're not ready to talk about it. And B, they don't trust that I have the capacity to maybe hold what they're saying. And because of past encounters, I have been unskillful. And my loved one doesn't always feel ready or safe to have me listening. So they are putting a boundary, making sure that I am not going to be unintentionally, obviously, harming. It's powerful. And my practice is it's a stir. And my practice is to look at what's getting stirred to the surface. What are those things? What are those conditions? For me, it's insecurity. It's a little bit of self-judgment. I'm not a very good person. I've been harming in the past. I've been unskillful. I'm not very practiced, blah, 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 all that stuff. And I get to sit with it. So friends, let's spend 5 minutes sitting with it. And let's take out any mystery, okay? So the mystery mystery is not even a good word here. Let's take out, the aspiration to be perfect. And let's just already be perfect. So flaws, fumbles, foibles, skill, success, learning, growth, all of it together in a beautiful stew, in a beautiful cauldron. Invite that to be perfect. And that is what each of us represents. Close your eyes. Turn your gaze inward and see if you can put your gaze at the level of the heart. And see if you can include at the level of the heart the top part of your chest, which includes your collarbones, your shoulders, your arms, and your hands. And see if you can imagine wrapping yourself up in a great, big, warm embrace. And see if you can imagine this embrace being something secure and something that symbolizes how you are minding your life, tending to your heart, embracing the whole of you. I'm doing it now. I've got my arms crossed and I'm just hugging my arms. The whole of me. I don't have to reject anything. I can stir it all in, and even the worst things about me get folded in and merge with the best things about me. And what that produces? That's the question, isn't it? I think from my experience, what comes forward is something sweet and sour. Something mild and spicy. The bothness of these pairs of opposites are what come together. And I want to have at the level of my heart an embrace about it. What's stirring in your cauldron today, in your emotional landscape? As you sit with it, let's say what you're sitting with is something really uncomfortable and maybe something that you've wanted to avoid. Let that be okay. Because just so you know, as you're sitting with it, what you're bringing to it is your presence. You could also bring to it your curiosity and wonder. You could bring to your own discomfort maybe a small spirit of leniency. You could bring to whatever discomfort you're holding some understanding and an aspiration to learn and to grow. These are all impeccable virtues that you're bringing to something uncomfortable, maybe a flaw or a fumble. What an empowering thing to be able to do, and we can't do it if we're not aware of what's being stirred. If we ignore the stirring and blame the spoon, or if we try to create a life where there are no spoons at all. We need them, they'll stir us up, and then we get to look deeply at ourselves and continue to gently stir in something that's nurturing, savoring, feeding, restoring. The cauldron of you is the cauldron of me. Together, it's the cauldron of us and we. What an amazing exercise in magic. Friends, to practice acknowledging yourself exactly as you are, the practice for me of acknowledging myself exactly as I am has empowered me to see clearly the things about me that I don't find particularly noble, and meet that with the things about me that I know are virtuous. And together, these things guide and illuminate my aspirations. And my single aspiration is to do less harm to my life, to my precious human life, and by extension, to all of life. It is my belief that if we can all just examine a degree of this aspiration for our lives, we'll have a degree of less suffering in the world. And that is something worth striving for. Thank you for joining me, friends, in this reflection. Let's take a deep breath together, breathing in and breathing out. Okay. And end our practice with a dedication of merit. And I'd like to bring forward the concept of unfathomable grief. And I'd like to also bring forward as our dedication the 4 noble reminders in Buddhism. The first is you have a precious human life. The second is the nature of reality is impermanent. Everything is subject to change, including unfathomable grief. And its opposite, unfathomable ecstasy and bliss. Both are subject to change. The third noble reminder is karma. What we have are our actions. And the fourth is the folly of samsara. This harkens to the notion of repetitive, cyclical suffering and discomfort. We turn to the familiar even when we know it causes suffering. And I bring this forward because to endeavor to live a better life is no small thing. To endeavor to love more deeply, more unconditionally, with greater acceptance, not because the things that are happening are good, but because the things that are happening just are. It is no small thing to endeavor to risk loving, expressing compassion, and being joyful. Joy does not betray grief. Joy heals it. I'd like to end our practice today with a mantra that I created to help me journey with those experiencing unfathomable grief. We honor our beloved dead best by learning to better live. Your life is so precious, exactly as it is. You matter in ways you'll never know. You bless this space. I am forever grateful. Namaste.